The whole Barca is in the mud thing the last few years is kind of hilarious because the way people talk, you think they were on their way to getting relegated. I mean, they literally just won a league title a couple of seasons ago. They finished with 85 points in second place last season. This is a dream for 95% of the clubs in Europe. When you really look at it, though, especially with the standards that Messi set, I mean, come on, it's pretty obvious that the last half decade or so has been a real down period for the club. First of all, they're broke as fuck. Everybody knows that at this point. It's kind of looked at as a joke nowadays, like, haha, broke Alona. But when you actually look into how it happened, I mean, it's actually shocking how dreadful their money management was. How the fuck do you sell Neymar for the highest transfer fee in the history of the sport and only make 30 million in profit for that whole season? This is like me levels of poor money management. I remember when I was a kid, I was like 12 years old and it was my 13th birthday. I think I got a total of like $500 from all my different family members combined. And I couldn't believe it. I just started throwing money everywhere like it was a strip club. I was buying shit I didn't even need, bro. I got 2 different spray ground book bags for no reason, bro. Literally just because I thought they looked cool. If you grew up in New York, you know exactly what SpongeBob spray ground I'm talking about. I bought like 6 different Knicks posters too. Mind you, we were still fucking ass at the time, so I was sitting there with Willie Hernan Gomez and Courtney Lee on my walls. It was a sad sight. Anyways, Barcelona was spending like me. At first, around like 2015 or so, it wasn't a crazy amount of debt, but after the Neymar deal, they went on like a spree of terrible signings as if their pockets weren't already dehydrated. Dembele for 100 mil, Coutinho was almost 150 million. That was crazy work, not gonna lie. Griezmann was 120 million, and they sold him back for 20 million. Terrible, terrible business, bruh. Add on the pandemic taking away their ticket revenue, and then the fact that they also renovated the stadium, the hole in their pockets just kept getting bigger, bruh. They lost Messi as a result of their financial mess, and that's when they started struggling on the pitch as well as off. The Champions League performances were pitiful. They got grouped back-to-back seasons after he left, after never getting grouped at all throughout his entire career. They won the league behind a stifling defense in the 2022 season, but their next league campaign was disappointing despite their high point total. To make things worse, Madrid continued to run away from them in almost every department. Their money management was far better, their signings far better, their squad was far better, and they just won the Champions League and the league with only 1 loss. There was one thing that Barca never lost, though, and that was their undying passion for child labor. No matter how much money they got in their pockets, one thing they're going to always do is put them children to work. La Masia just kept shitting out talents. Ansu Fati came and went. He was supposed to be Messi's heir, but injuries and maybe some of the pressure got to him. Most recently, though, La Masia carried Barca through a 2023 season packed with injuries and turmoil. In a year where Rafinha, Gavi, Pedri, and Araujo and a couple others all missed considerable time with injury, it was Lamine Yamal and Pau Cubarsí who gave Barca fans hope for the future at a time where the club seemed to be steadily trending downwards. Cubarsí emasculated Osimhen in the Champions League at 17 years old. Mind you, he wasn't 17 about to turn 18. He had just turned 17 that January. Yamal was 16 going ham in the league. He really started turning up when Rafinha was hurt around January and he started getting even more minutes. Probably the most important move, though, was getting Hansi Flick as Xavi's replacement. Don't get me wrong now, Xavi was by no means a bad manager. He did leave Barca to a league title, and his trust in the youth was also very important. There's a lot of managers that don't play Yamal or Cubarsí if they're in Xavi's shoes. However, Barca looked like an entire different team under Flick. You could see signs of it the first few games where they squeaked out 2-1 wins. There were stretches where they looked more fluid than they have in years. Rafinha's been electric. He's playing literally all over the pitch. You could argue he's been Barca's second most important player so far this season attacking-wise. Flick has been using him as a central attacking midfielder for a lot of the season so far, as opposed to past years where he's mostly been on the right wing. This season, he's had the freedom to roam to whichever wing he wants while also linking up play in the middle and attacking centrally. This works out perfectly because Yamal is on the right wing where Rafinha usually operates, and Olmo also pulled up and officially claimed the central attacking midfielder role, which leaves Rafinha floating around all over the attacking third now, generally on the left, but still more free than your usual left winger. Everything really exploded with that 7-0 win over Valladolid, which also coincided with Olmo's first start for the team. I really don't think that was an accident, especially because after Olmo came on at halftime against Vallecano, Barca started flowing way better. With Olmo now hurt for a few weeks with, I think, like a hamstring injury, I don't expect Barca's attack to be as dynamic in their next few games. You can see a large difference between how explosive and fluid they were before he joined and after. Since he came on at halftime against Rayo Vallecano, they've outscored their La Liga opponents 13-1 in 2.5 games. He's an electric player. Of course, Lamine Yamal also has been brilliant. 17 years old, outplaying everyone in one of the top 3 leagues in the world is insane. La Liga is statistically the hardest of the top 5 leagues for an attacker, and he's in there literally abusing grown men. It's not normal whatsoever. Kubarsi's decision-making and passing for a 17-year-old defender is insane. Some of the passes he picks out are wild. This team doesn't even have Gavi yet, doesn't have Christensen, doesn't have Araujo, doesn't have numerous other players. Flick got to get his props for what he's been doing. The only major weaknesses you can really point out with these guys is a couple things. For one thing, I hate to say it, but Lewandowski is still a glaring red flag. He has 4 goals in 5 games because of the crazy volume of chances that Barca are creating. They have 21 big chances created in 5 games. The closest in second place has 14, and only 2 other teams have more than 10. Lewandowski already leads the league in big chances missed with 5, and some of them are pretty bad. It won't be long before Barca fans are calling for his head again. The other problem is Ter Stegen, as we saw in the Monaco game. Listen, I don't even know what else to say about him. Barca fans have been ripping him apart for years. They gotta go get somebody else at some point. Somebody needs to do a compilation of how many trophies Ter Stegen might have cost them at this point. The number gotta be crazy. The Monaco stumble is the only game where Barca really showed actual weakness though, and they played almost the entire thing with 10 men and only lost by 1. I wouldn't be too mad if I was a Barca fan. The new UCL format makes it easier to get away with a shitty game. For now though, when they get healthy, Barcelona will be in the best position they've been in since before Messi's departure. There's a lot to be genuinely excited about over there.